Hi, everyone. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the following podcast belong solely to the host and its contributors. They are not necessarily the views of our employers, organizations, committees, or other group or individual.
Dude, what's up, man? It's been so long. So long.
I know, man. I know. You
Quite a
gotta.
long on this one.
It's been a long time, yeah, since we recorded the last podcast, but a lot of stuff happening in between then and now. Honestly, a lot of crazy stuff.
Dude, yeah, it's been phenomenal. So, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Brewing with BIM. I am Joey, lost in the woods, Whitney. Uh, with me, I guess, David. I love Halo. I mean, I don't know what to.
Yeah, I do love Halo. Dude, we switched themes this week. Well, I'm not in the BIM lab over here. I'm out in space.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go. Oh yeah, and you were lost in the woods, man. That's right.
Yes, I was. That's why we couldn't get one off this past weekend for Labor Day. Adrian actually surprised me with a camp reservation, and we ended up going camping on the coast. It was awesome.
Well, we had that sounds awesome. First of all, but we had a lot of like setbacks. So we had this planned recording early last week, I guess end of the week before, and then we had to reschedule to the participants, um, and then you had to reschedule due to the camp surprise camp reservations.
Yep.
And then we were supposed to record with him today, but apparently you guys are all on fire
We're
out
on
there.
fire out here. Yeah, your background is on fire out here right now, dude. It's pretty crazy.
That's nuts, man. That's nuts. I just can't believe, I can believe it, honestly. Like when I lived in Oregon, I remember all the fires. I remember the thick smoke and everybody just wanting to stay inside and, get any, air purifiers you can. But I don't know. It didn't seem like it was, that close to us. But now our friends in Salem are participant for this week who we'll have to reconnect with next week. By the way, give him a shout out, Eric DeLeon from CAD Manager Confessions. This will be an interesting podcast next week with him.
It should be a great podcast with Eric. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I think that's something that we need anyways. The industry does it quite a bit, but you see, CAD mixing with BIM quite a bit. And
yeah, well, the two are not mutually exclusive by any means. CAD is part of BIM, right?
Yes.
Or BIM is part of CAD even. Mm-hmm. It's just we, capitalize on the buzzwords of our industry and away we go, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think, I actually think part of it is going to tie into our podcast today. I mean, I know that standards, a lot of the managers in that portion, CAD managers, BIM managers, they have to concentrate on those standards. They have to try and implement that in their company to better their processes for everybody involved. It's not just people that have been there forever. It's people coming on, bettering the processes of, just anybody there and how their company wants to do it as a whole moving forward, right? Just adopting a standard. It's not very it's funny, but I find that's actually one of the biggest kind of problems with our industry is the fact that we do not have a standard. You don't have a BIM standard. There are so many different programs and softwares out there to work on. I mean, yes, obviously IFC is the kind of industry standard file type, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
whatever.
But that's a transfer file in my mind. That's a file format we use for transferring. It's not a data capturing. It's a transfer format, something that we can integrate and implement into our existing file format, not one that we readily get to interact with. And a lot of people, not pointing fingers, but a lot of people have been, saying this is Autodesk's fault for making Revit kind of a closed feedback loop. Mm-hmm. This is, dialogues that have come out of this whole open letter, stuff. Got to address the elephant in the room, right? Yep. But that said, knowing what Autodesk has put into IFC and knowing somebody that's actually been a part of that initial committee setting up IFC, industry foundation class, I think is what it is.
Mhm.
Setting that up, like from the Autodesk standpoint, like knowing that there was this whole interoperability, and we're talking a decade ago.
Yep. Yep.
It's pretty remarkable to see that it's still in use and still making progress. I know we were just talking about BCF formats with Rob from Kobe Labs. So, I guess what I'm getting at in a roundabout way is, yeah, there's no open format. No, it's not one vendor's fault over the others. Um, could it be better? Always, always. That's what we're about, man. Let's make it better. If we got to, figure out a Dynamo script or some, hack the API, whatever we got to do, we're gonna make stuff better. That's what we want.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yep. It's just
So
crazy.
so you were talking about standards there for a second, and the reason why I don't think there can be one standard is, so I had a call earlier today with a gentleman who's actually a big fan of our podcast, which was an amazing conversation. Who's starting up a pretty remarkable remote consulting company. Anyways, for BIM technology. Anyways, our conversation kind of went down the rabbit hole of the different mindsets of people that are involved in the construction process. When we talk about BIM, he's like, I never thought about BIM beyond construction. Like we think about BIM for construction. Like, well, we talk about BIM for construction today because that's the space we operate in. That's the space that we have solutions for. Nobody's talking about BIM for construction, or BIM post construction because that's the owner's space.
Yep.
There aren't
Building
many
management.
there aren't many design firms, focused on that
Yep.
side of things. Pardon me. Um, Focused on that side of things post construction, except for the people that are trying to sell a service contract outside of it, the mechanical, the piping contractors, whoever it is that's trying to service the life of the building and win that annual contract as well. So that they're thinking about it, and it's part of maybe their handover package or something that they're delivering. But when we talk about standards, it's gotta be focused by mindset too. So the architects have a different mindset. They're focused on I've got to make the best design, and that within these constraints for the owner, they're acting as the owner's rep in that state. When you talk about the contractor subcontractors, I've got to build this in the shortest amount of time and the owner's budget. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about how the design flows into this and the data that I can get from the design to this. And as far as an architect, I'm not thinking about more often than not how the guys downstream are going to utilize this data, how it's going to save them X amount of money, because my job is to focus on this singular thing of designing the best building for this owner.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. There's got to be some wiggle room, obviously, to allow each division to do its own thing. But you're right. There should be standards, especially as, dude, I'm going on this long rant.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
But the reason why I believe there should be standards, it's mostly coming from the subcontractor side of things, right? So the design team's got one thing in mind. As we know, those design things get flipped out and switched out, and then they get more detailed and specified, and then we'll add systems and all that stuff, and then that'll go through to the subcontractors. As the subcontractors get more involved, there's a different component, right? There's only so many companies in the U.S. or world or wherever that make air handling units. Mm-hmm. There's only so many models, but we have to specify those models. Here's the deal. Everybody's got their own damn family with their own damn information and all that stuff. How does that information feed out to the different, people involved? Yep. And how are they going to track that? And how does that relate back to the owner system? Like, is that a proprietary thing to you? Then that's what you're selling yourself on to the owner. That way they give you more jobs. Like, there's a lot of different moving pieces and things to think about. But these are the standards that we should be thinking about, especially as we move to this, future model of, manufacturing components in the cloud and, prefabricated construction, all that sort of stuff. But we went down this tangent. You got me down my damn soapbox on the soapbox down this rabbit hole. And I never asked you, what are you drinking, buddy?
Oh, good one. Good one. So today I have made an old fashioned, one of my favorite.
It's invisible, which is awesome.
I am making an old fashioned out of the Crater Lake Rye whiskey. Now this is also invisible.
Yeah.
Got an Harry Potter invisibility cloak over the top of it. But Crater Lake straight American rye whiskey. It's made and bottled by Bend Distillery out of Bend, Oregon. So I stopped and picked up a bottle of that for the other side of brewing, or distilling in this case.
Distilling with BIM. I like it, man.
Distilling
That'll be
with
our
BIM.
side podcast where we just drink nothing but liquors.
There you go. It could be
Yep.
completely incoherent by the end of the podcast.
2 shots in, we're babbling idiots. I love it, man. I love Crater Lake. It's one of the most beautiful geographies you'll ever get to visit. That said, the distillery is phenomenal too. I like the whiskey. I don't think I've had that rye before, but
It's pretty good, honestly.
good.
It's it's got a little, I don't want to say a kick to it, but it's the typical
well, it's rye.
taste.
It's got a nice
Exactly.
spice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a spice to it, so I am enjoying it. It's made for a different old fashioned. You know what's funny is I love an old fashioned, and it's great how you can take these different whiskeys or different types of whiskey and run it through an old fashioned. Same ingredients every single time. I got, not gonna lie to you, I got my Peychaud's aromatic cocktail bitters. I add some of this in. Then because I'm fancy like this, I will also throw in some orange bitters because I love an orange taste with my old fashioned. I'll usually throw in a little bit of an orange rind, right? I got my simple syrup, and then I throw in either a Bada Bing cherry, or I love the Bada Bing cherries. If I can get a Bing cherry in there, I'm on it. But or a maraschino cherry, I guess, if I'm feeling a little broke that week. No, I really love how it just, the taste of it. Like overall, you use the same stuff, but that taste, because of the whiskey, it just varies so much. Like you taste that spice just a little bit more. Like you're still tasting, the
Where
sweetness.
it hits you on the front versus the back.
Yeah, dude, it's great. I love
the
it.
aroma changes a little bit. Like there's so much that goes into it. We could geek out on whiskey all day, man. I'm telling you, go down to the Multnomah Whiskey Library and try everything.
That'd be a fantastic time.
Yes, yes.
So what are you drinking?
Oh, me. I'm drinking. Well, I had a little scotch left over, and I didn't want to drink straight scotch. I mean, after all, it is only like 7 o'clock here. So I cut it with a little bit of a splash of Diet Pepsi to change the color, but gave it a little sweetness to my smokiness, and I dig it. I'm a big old fashioned connoisseur like yourself, man. I gotta tell you though, hands down, the candied lemons with the muddled blackberries and the dude, that was the best one I've ever had. That was phenomenal. I love it. I am gonna take your advice and do candied oranges one time.
Yes, candied oranges, dude. I think that'd be amazing. I love a way that the oranges taste in an old fashioned.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the best one I've had so far was Vegas. Like that smoke on the water.
Smoke on the boulevard.
Smoke on the boulevard. Oh my gosh, honestly, that was just. I think it was the coolness factor added into it.
Dude, we had already had some drinks before then, so we were like blown away by the time we saw that. We're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing! They're lighting this on fire.
Yeah, dude, they bring it out and all the smoke, they like roast it, like smoke it first. They put all this put almost like a damn bowl is what I think about, and you put a bowl on there and it sucks all of it into the.
That's exactly what it was. It was a bowl with a freaking little torch on it.
Yeah, dude.
Smoke filled the dang chamber.
Yeah, man, you pull that drink out of there and it's like the first few sips even. You're tasting that smoke, right? Just that nice smoky taste. And with an old fashioned, I loved that combination. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
It's got me one stick an old fashioned in my smoker towards the end there.
I thought about smoking some, just like smoking a bowl of water, like a, thing of water, in the smoker. The issue with that is, I don't want to run my smoker just by itself, right? Just with water. So it's going to take on the flavor of anything I put in there, meats, whatever. So I don't know if I want a meaty. I mean, you're shaking your head like, yeah, let's do a smoked T-bone.
Yeah, dude, I'm going to get a smoked prime rib whiskey. Let's do it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, man. Why don't you just do some salmon? At least get your omega-3s, omega-6s in
Oh
there.
yeah.
And
Oh, actually, speaking of last weekend, I actually got to smoke some salmon. I smoked what was about 5 pounds of
oh,
salmon meat. Yeah, it was Chinook. I got about 15 pounds of meat. So I froze a bunch of it. Some of it started looking kind of discolored. I don't know. For those of you who don't know, um, a salmon, when it makes its trip up, upstream to lay its eggs and stuff, some of them age out a little bit faster. We call them toolies. And the meat, when you cut the fish open, it's actually a little more orange than it is red. So it's a little discolored. Now it's still good meat. It's just not as rich and flavorful as a normal kind of younger salmon is. So with that meat, most of the time, the best option is to go ahead and smoke it. So that's what I did, dude. I smoked it, and honestly, it turned out awesome. A,
nice.
yeah, I really like after tasting it and going through the process, I was a little scared at first because with salmon, you have to do a real low smoke. Like I'm
Yeah,
talking,
cold smoke.
yeah. I mean, I did a hot smoke. I think I got it up to like 175, 200,
Oh, that's
which is
that's great.
generally, yeah, it's generally a little too hot for salmon. Like I had a huge water pan in there. My problem is I have a charcoal, and I got a box, so you can't fine tune the temperature. It is what it is.
You didn't go pick up your new smoker?
No, I haven't yet, dude. I'm so lazy on this, but I have it. I just haven't gone to pick it up and brought it here and put it together yet. I've just been like, it's fine. I can keep using the charcoal one. But I'm still kind of like Adrian was telling me the other day. She's like, you got to go get that, and you got to get rid of the charcoal. And I'm like, but but do
Do
I?
I?
Hey, do I? Because I
I'm
mean,
right
I'll
there
go
with you,
pick it
man.
up, but I still like the charcoal. Like I
Yeah,
like the taste of it. I still like how,
dude.
it is kind of a pain in the ass to babysit it. Dude, but you give me a reason to drink beer all day and chill out by the smoker. Yeah, I'm in.
A lot of people knock on charcoal, but here's the deal. All these people that love wood-fired pizzas, wood-fired pizzas are great. I promise you, they're nothing compared to a coal-fired pizza.
Yeah.
Coal-fired pizza is kind of badass.
Oh yeah, dude. I bet. I don't think I've had one before.
Dude, get your box up. I don't know how hot you can get your box, but if you can get up to just maybe over 500
Yeah.
degrees, you'll do all right. It's
Okay.
six. I
All
think
right.
it's about 625 is probably where you want to be, but I don't know if you can get that hot.
No, I don't think so. I think the paint's already coming off of my side
Oh,
box right now, and I've only had it like, I mean, I've had it probably I think 400 or 500 when you first start it and it's going. Most of my meat I like to smoke right at about 250, 275. But of course, the salmon was a lot obviously a lot cooler. I didn't want a lot of the what is it, albumin? I think that's what it is. It's a white substance that actually comes out of the
yeah.
fish. That's one of the scary parts about smoking salmon, man. If you get too much of that albumin that comes through, it's ruined. Meat's done. That's it. You messed it up. So I was like, man, I swear I was basting that salmon every hour, like every 45 minutes, 50 minutes with syrup. I was over there with maple syrup. I brined it overnight, like for 10, 12 hours, let it sit in the brine, pulled it out, let it dry for 4 hours. And then I'm like, all right, let's smoke this stuff religiously, bro. I was there every 45 minutes to an hour. Like I got my maple syrup, I got my baster, I got to make sure this stuff stays coated.
So what did
Yeah,
you do? Cracked pepper or maple syrup on the outside, or what did you just
nope,
maple syrup?
just syrup. So what I did for the brine itself is water, a little bit of sea salt, or well, I used kosher salt or sea salt. Either way, it works.
Oh, get some
Um,
pickle and salt, man. That's the way to go.
yep, kosher salt. That's what I got. Kosher salt, and then brown sugar. And
Cool.
I just mix that all up, let it sit in there to sweeten it a little bit, and kind of course, coat it. Put that pellets on it, I think it is. Pellicle, develop the pellicle. I think that's what it is, the outer kind of layer. And then once it dried out, everything like that, I threw it on there, basted it with the maple syrup. Did that for I think like 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that. And yeah, it came out great. My next thing is going to be salmon jerky, though.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that sounds good, man.
yeah, man.
I've had some from a store before. Salmon jerky's good. turkey jerky, dude, anything jerky. I've even
Anything
eaten
jerky, right?
the soy, seitan. I don't even know if
Oh,
I'm saying
I
that
don't think
right.
I've had that one before.
Jerky, like it's all good, man. Got jerk seasoning, spices. Yeah, I'm good, man. Dehydrated. Yeah, that's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Man, I get weird when people bring around jerky bacon. Bacon jerky, I'm gonna smash it. I love bacon anyways. You make it into jerky, let's go. I'm gonna eat a whole bag. Just straight fat kid on it.
Woo.
All right,
Oh man,
but enough of that tangent.
that's just the way we get started around here.
That is.
So yeah, well, before we jump into that, let's talk about what we got going on, guys. So we got a lot of cool things in the works. We've got a few sponsors coming on. We've got some awesome guests lined up.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you for the amount of people that have reached out. Dave and I haven't been as diligent about responding to people because there's been quite a few that came in through the web form, and we this is a boo-boo on us. So if we hadn't responded to you, we're sorry. But it was going to an old email address, not our new email address. So we're getting to those emails. We're working through them. But we got some awesome conversations going based off of it, and some new potential guests that have spun off of those conversations. So happy to start diving deep into laser scanning and point clouds and contracts and all kinds of crazy stuff. So looking forward to that stuff. But also we've been chatting with a few well-known construction apps that want to come on and tell their story. So we're looking forward to that. And we're going to have an official, I guess, I don't know what his title is. He's a technical support manager, but he's essentially supports all of the CAD managers, in the Northwest. That's his role. He's a technical support manager, but his sole job is to support pretty much CAD managers. He's going to talk to us about how COVID's impacted things and where he sees trends and what's going on, and that'll be a fun one as well. And as next week, we're going to have Eric DeLeon from CAD Manager Confessions, who actually inspired us to formalize this podcast. He launched his podcast. We were talking about it. We were going back and forth. He even gave me a shout out on his first episode where he's like, Joey forced me to do this. But he told me that he was doing his podcast, how he was doing it. He hadn't officially launched it. And we came to a point where we were ready to launch. And he goes, oh, crap, now I got to launch. So kind of forced it. But it's awesome to we'll chat about him, about how CAD managers, how he rose up through the ranks and what he's seeing as, again, with trends with COVID. That's a big thing that's going on right now. So we want to talk about it. But today, you were about to say, today's episode is dedicated to...
Well, I think we're going to talk about some standards and really BIM processes, how we can learn from BIM. Here. Just there's so many things to talk about, right? BIM is such a varied term. You have building information modeling, building information management.
It's a blanket term, man. Like I want to get ultimately the idea is to get people from different industries and different segments to come on and talk about what BIM means to them, because BIM to you and me is, I don't know, I feel like you and I have a good overview of the total thing, because we have to support so many people in different avenues and aspects of BIM. So we kind of know what BIM means to all these people. But I want somebody to come in and just get granular with their specific thing. And then let's tie them all together. Let's make a bigger conversation and figure out, we're not going to solve contract types, overnight. I know that. I know that, guys. But let's have those conversations and figure out what needs to change and what mentalities that owners and everybody needs to have a healthy BIM environment.
Yeah, dude, help set expectations, or even just realistic views, what we can expect from this, what we can get from it, how we can improve our processes on it, and kind of what is out there to help us do that, right? Because a lot of people feel like they're swimming They're just floating in there. They're treading water. Exactly, right? Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Like we'll just keep treading that water, man. And we'll keep your head above water, and we're good to go. But sometimes it's nice to have that little floaty to chill on, right? That life-saving device or something that you can blow up real quick, such as BIM. In many different ways, you can use it to help, I guess, keep you afloat, help guide you to different places, and help better the things that you do.
So this ties into standards, but it might fall more under best practices.
Mm-hmm.
But so I had this, similar conversation today about, you know, BIM based off of, standards and all that stuff, but based off of the time frame that you have available for the project, which is ultimately, dictated by the budget, right? I know I have X amount of days in design because I have X amount of money, that's being paid for this job. It's the size, the scope, all that sort of stuff. So if, is it worth me, fudging around and moving all these slabs, 0.3 inches to the right or whatever it is, or can I just fudge the dimensions, which is going to take me half the time?
Yep.
So as a designer, our standard might be one way, but it's like, budgets dictate, I'm going to go ahead and fudge this.
Yep.
But later on, you're causing headaches for somebody else. So that's an instance where, like, well, if you had adhered to your standards, we might not have reaped the benefits, but somebody else downstream would have. Like, how does that? We were talking about setting standards earlier for the whole project, but there has to be project-based standards. I get that. There's also disciplined, firm-based standards.
Yep.
So how do we bridge that gap? Kind of tie it all back together so that everybody gets the best of both worlds. So in this scenario, what's your preferred instance? Yeah. Well, with communication, that's how you'd solve it. Just let people know that, look, these are fudged. I have to meet this deadline.
No, I would say more of setting expectations for the entire project. Like, okay, if you're a GC, you're a subcontractor, you're an owner, your owner's rep, whatever it is that you're doing in this instance, you have to look at what is your end game, right? What's the end game, and how do we want to get there? Okay, cool. I could work for this architecture firm, and this firm may feel like they want to fudge a little bit of stuff so they can meet my deadline and get this out. But you know what? The fact that you just fudged those dimensions and that you just moved everything throws my coordination off. And now my coordination team has to go through and redesign this, reset it essentially, or my construction team might have to go through and remodel this and redetail it.
The sad thing is that I don't think those complaints make it to the owner. So that's the screwed up part of this.
Yep.
So communication comes back. Like, the owner's, wondering why he's getting hit with a new bill for something. Well, it's because we have to redesign stuff because the model wasn't designed for constructability purposes. Yep. Well, what does that mean? You got your sheet set.
Unneeded expense, man. That right there. What is it? It really grinds my gears. I'm gonna go Peter Griffin on it, but like it does. It grinds my gears. Rework. And I mean, honestly, that's a big portion of it. People need to understand, like, yeah, okay, if you're only gonna take it to this level, you're only gonna take it to this LOD. Cool, fine. You need to communicate that with everybody involved in the process. So this GC, this subcontractor, whoever it is, knows they need to get involved sooner in the process. And that time that they've already, or that they're going to need to put into it is already documented. It's already in the budget. Instead of thinking you're going to get this great constructible model and realize, shit, we need to rewind this about, 2-3 weeks because we're going to spend a couple of weeks redetailing all of this or moving things around so our coordination does line up. My penetration holes in this concrete are good. So when I fabricate or prefabricate, it's going to line up like it needs to.
So a lot of people are, a lot of owners, I guess, are like, we don't want to spend the money for this, and that makes sense. But the issue is there's no one person acting even though you have a CM or something like that, there's no, or even an owner's rep, there's no one person that's acting as the great overseer of all that's watching that budget or even really knows that, yes, it's going to cost you more money to do this, but it's going to lead to this. For example, laser scanning, right? If I know that the designs are kind of fudged in some aspects. I know that it would save us so much time and money to laser scan X amount of, X interval on the project, not only to capture work completed, but to get an accurate as-built, to update our coordination for the next floor, next level, next zone, whatever it is. But we have all this information to work from. I was chatting with somebody who literally told me that the first the first floor of the building, they were doing I don't know if it was a skyscraper or what, but they were like on the 15th floor, and they, somebody had said something about the total station, didn't work. It didn't work, so they stopped using it. Well, it's because the points that they were pulling from on the first floor weren't actual real points. They were just fudged in, so they gave up and they just copied that going up every floor. I think they were like the 15th floor or something like that.
Yeah.
Before they called the person back out there to show them how to use the total station, only to find out that, look, you were just doing this wrong. The total station is perfect. It just measures angles and distances. Your whole process was off because it didn't align with actually your design. You were going off of dimensions that you couldn't even hand read because you didn't look at the model or anything. Now, had you done all that stuff based off the model, you've been Nat's ass. Now, had we incorporated laser scans and did the verification workflow, dude, we would have caught that instantaneously. We would have known by the end of floor 1 that all this shit's off in the wrong, in the wrong spot. Floor 2, let's make a correction. Floor 1, do we need to issue rework, or is it fine as is, and then move forward? But incorporating scans into that whole process, laser scanning into that process, we would actually know where these issues are, and then it could actually be part of our handover too, because we're talking about billing for an as-built. Well, shit, I just paid you to scan every floor. I'm sure you got all these damn scans after everything's done. You got an as-built. Come on.
Hell yeah. Yep. And what's funny, dude, is, I mean, it's funny, but it's not. A lot of people are thinking we need to hire someone with this experience. We need to hire someone who knows laser scanning. But the problem with that is most of the time you'll get a person that might know laser scanning, but they don't know what your company does. Like, they don't know how your workflows work, how your processes are. They don't understand how you do things. A lot of times what I found, and we have a conversation about this just before we started recording the podcast, it's, hey, take some people that understand what you do and train them. Send them to some training. I guarantee you that's going to be cheaper.
So yeah, and it's definitely going to be cheaper in the long run, because you're going to have to retrain somebody. Here's the issue. Everybody I know that really knows laser scanning has started their own business doing laser scanning. I'm just gonna say it. Look, you might be a laser scanning professional. You might do this at top XYZ construction firm, but I tell you what, you don't know it better than the person that does it for their own business. And I'll challenge you to that, because I'll connect you with some people that know it inside and out, that know the philosophy, that know the damn science, and know every aspect about it. They know they should be a damn PhD in laser scanning, because these guys would have it. And not only that, they can show you how to do your job faster and smarter than you're currently doing it. But that said, enough of your job to do your job. These guys, they learned enough, took it to the next level, and then they went out and they're like, it's not worth working for anybody. I'll just charge $15,000, $20,000 per scan, per project, and just keep moving on. Yep. And they're doing well. They're doing well for a reason. They're doing well because they understand it. They understand the pain points better than you ever will. It's crazy.
Yep. It's, I don't know, man. It's a huge, I don't want to say a gap, but it is something in our industry that does need to be addressed.
Well, it definitely does. Well, and then here's the other side of that. Those guys that really know laser scanning, then they hire the same person that you would have hired that they train to go and backfill the laser scanning position. So here's the bottom line. Just hire somebody. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if they understand scanning. If they don't even know what a point cloud is, as long as they can spell it, I think that should be the requirement, because you can get them to speed. And if you can't get them to speed, damn sure we can get them up to speed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you got somebody in your company that is, they want to learn, they are good at understanding how things work, and you want to take it to the next level, send them to some training. Send
Yeah.
them to training. Get them trained up on it. Let them go.
Yeah,
You
you do a
know?
bunch of stuff with scanning and stuff for our employer. Like
Yep.
you're one of the guys that's on the forefront of technology, and
Dude, I love it. I
yeah,
love it. Anytime I can get my hands on a scanner, I'm all about it, dude. I brought the GLS home. I brought the GTL home. I mean, come on, dude. The process itself, like scanning in general, for me, is a fun experience, right?
yeah,
It's a learning experience every damn time. Like, I mean, yes, if you pick up the GTL, it's going to be different than the GLS. So I still have that learning curve, but at the same time, the fundamentals are the same. I need to set up, I need to calibrate. I'm going to do a backsite and resection essentially. You know, I'm going to do that to tell it where I'm at. And once you get that information, once you calibrate it, right, the data that you can pull from these scans is invaluable. It
yeah,
really is. I mean, as you say, it's a deliverable as built. It's a way that we can verify construction. Like we can verify the construction against the design. We can verify the design against the as built conditions. There's so many things that we can do with one scan. And I mean, honestly, yes, okay. If you have a big ass building, it's going to take a little bit of time to scan it, right? But at the same time, getting that scan again is going to be very invaluable to your entire project with the things that you can do with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I don't know how we got on scanning from standards, but
I don't know.
I'm sure I led the way. Sorry.
Hashtag tangents.
Hashtag. I don't know what this sign is, but
I don't know.
hashtag,
Is
I
that
guess.
WWE?
Yeah.
Triple H right there. Is that what that
No,
was?
DX, man.
Yeah.
Generation X.
Generation X. Yep.
Is it Generation X or Degeneration X?
I don't know.
I think it's Degeneration X.
Generation X. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what generation. Am I Y? Am I Z? What am I, man?
Fucking idea about
I
that
don't
shit.
know. I like Eliza Schlessenberg's thing, elder millennial. That's what I am. I'm an elder millennial, guys.
I like that. I like that. Oh man. But no, I mean,
Killed two of these red solo cups, man. Good God.
yeah. You know what's funny is I'm watching you like open up a damn bottle right now and half of it disappears.
It's empty now, man.
There you go. There you go. It's gonna disappear anyways.
Eh, that's
But
my magic.
dude, I mean with standards, I think it's important. Like communication in general is a huge thing that we need to address, right? Communication in terms of the owner. Now, there's a whole nother portion to this as well, education, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Educating the owner on what to expect, what to ask for, because we have a lot of these owners out there, and I mean, Joey, you and I have talked about this so much. They don't know, and I feel so bad because some of these owners will get set up for failure. Now, not meaningful setup for failure, but they're
Unintentional.
asking for BIM.
Yeah.
Exactly. They ask for BIM and they don't know what that really means. Like, okay,
So
let's get this 3D model. But you get this 3D model with a bunch of unintelligent geometry in it. What is that going to give you really?
we've used this story anecdotally for quite some time now, but there's this municipality that we know that didn't specify BIM. They asked for BIM on a project, didn't write in what it is. Somebody provided like LOD, not even LOD, 100, like LOD negative 100.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you want a building? Here's your building. Like it's so bad. But anyways, to specify this stuff, the place got flooded. They
Yep.
needed to pull this information. They were like, "Oh, it's in the model." The O&M manuals are on site, so they were like, "Oh, let's look at the BIM model and see what we've got." And they realized they had nothing. So now they are overcompensating rather, by throwing millions of dollars at this
Yes,
new
they are.
BIM, which is cool, right? I mean, cut your teeth, on this one to make up for the
Figure it out.
last one, and then you'll figure it out going forward that I don't need to spend this much. But that said, you know, next time, like,
Yep.
like
You
you're
live
gonna
and
have
you
these.
learn.
Yeah, this is essentially setting your standards for the next and so on and so on. So
Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, that's an important part of it as well. I think I've talked about this a couple times. AAR, APRs, like an after action review or after project review, doing stuff like that to figure out how you can improve, what you can improve on moving forward. You know, good, better, best kind of thing. That's got to be part of the process with anybody. But I mean,
this has got to be Johann
education.
Tuckler. Oh,
It
definitely
does.
education.
It's
This has
got
got
to
to
be.
be
I mean,
another
I want to
Johann
bring
Tuckler
Johan on.
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, we talked about this last podcast, but I really want to bring Johan on again to have another conversation about what owners want. You know, what do they want? What do they expect? And how can we educate them in not just contracts? I mean, contracts is a huge part of it. It really is, but also in knowing what to expect from this whole BIM, process. Okay, we want BIM. Okay, what LOD do you want? What timeline are we looking at? There's so many different things. Like, what are you going to do with this model?
So
Are you taking in this into a facilities management? Are you actually going to track and analyze the heating system, and you have little sensors in it? Are you going to see where you're losing pressure? Or do you have a paper mill where you're tracking your flow, your gallons per minute, to make sure nothing gets stuck or clogged up? You're tracking all your different I want to say valves or flanges, what have you. You have a whole tracking system, maintenance system. It depends on what you're doing with this information and how you can optimize this, right? But not only that, how can you optimize the design itself, the design process? Because I mean, it all goes together. It's all one stream of information. If we can set it up to begin with, to know I'm going to need an LOD 350 or 400 by the end of this. These are the elements that I really want to put this information into. I need to have the warranties for all of my, my mechanical equipment, for any pumps, any valves, what have you, or, whatever it is. We need to figure this out, dude. I was in a meeting today, and it's funny, but I was actually demoing out Format. I was demoing out Format, Dynamo, and Insight. And this firm had let me know that right now they were trying to figure out what Format was and why they would use it. Okay. And I'm talking to them about, well, what are you guys currently using? Oh, well, Grasshopper, Rhino, SketchUp, a whole bunch of different things. Well, Grasshopper in Rhino, but they're using a whole bunch of different programs, a whole bunch of different softwares to try and stitch this one model together. So it's something that they could hand over. And I'm like, whoa. Okay, I understand. Like, that's one of our industry's problems. Like, I mean, it's not a problem, obviously. It's a good thing when you have a lot of different competing softwares out there that are available. Yeah. That's a good thing, right? It makes the industry better, more cutthroat in a way. Like, you want to make your product better to compete, right? But in this sense too, why are you using 5 different programs to do one workflow? You know that you want to get here. Like, let's figure out how we can optimize the stuff that we have to kind of work towards the end goal.
So it's like this. Your accountant uses, let's just hypothetical here. Your accountant uses Excel. Your subcontractor, your GC or whatever, uses Word, and your marketing department uses PowerPoint, right? Those are things. How are you supposed to marry all of those 3 things as a deliverable? Mm-hmm. Well, you've got to take, each one from each application and copy them into one, and then share that out. That's how you do it. The same is true in what we do, right? So mostly interior designers, for whatever reason, SketchUp is king, right? That's just the way it is. So they're going to use SketchUp. That said, I'm guilty. I use SketchUp. I love SketchUp. When it was free, a Google product before it was the big keyword.
Yep.
4-letter word there. Anyways, I got my own qualms and quarters. Anyways, so they use that. Yep. The other side of that, though, is McNeil. So McNeil, for those of you guys who don't know, they've got a history pass with Autodesk. They used to be Autodesk resellers that were really predominant in the Northwest. They developed their own products. Autodesk said, drop it, resell it. I'm paraphrasing here, but They chose their own product over it, and they make a great product. I don't know if you've done surface modeling inside of, Sketch, or I said SketchUp. Damn it. What's their bread and butter, their main pro?
McNeil? What are you talking about?
McNeil. So they make Rhino, they make Grasshopper, Flamingo. Maybe it's Rhino, I think is what I'm thinking
I
of.
think it's Rhino. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Anyway, so they make all these great products like that do different things. Like Flamingo's great at rendering and stitching stuff together and all that stuff. So like, how do you bridge that gap and make all these programs talk? Well, people do amazing things with these software. There's a skill set that they use with this software because it behaves like no other software. And, you know, I'm not knocking Autodesk. I'm just saying, and I'm not promoting the other way. I'm just saying like, this does great at this. This does great at this. Like there's this ship making company that comes to mind. They use Rhino for surface modeling of the exterior of the hull for like high-end, like custom yachts. The interior is done in Revit. So all the systems, architectural type features, pardon me, are done inside of Revit. They marry the two together to make this remarkable product. But you were just saying that like, well, why do people work in these different things, these different softwares? But here's the thing, like sometimes some software is great at one thing, one software is great at the other. If we can find a way to communicate those two to each other, it doesn't mean that one software has to be king. I would love to promote Revit all day long. Damn it, I am. Revit is freaking gold. You guys stop that shit right now. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, like going down that tangent though, with Rhino, Grasshopper, all that sort of stuff. Do you remember Travis Williams from our Dynamo Roundtable for
Yes.
the
Yep.
Festival of BIM? Okay, cool. You know, go check out our Festival of BIM and Digital Construction Roundtable. There's our plug.
Yeah, good one. It's a good conversation.
Anyways, he was talking about his need to develop in Dynamo and what that sort of went around. And really, it came down to needing to connect Revit to Rhino. He had people that really knew Revit. He had people that really knew Rhino. Those Rhino people weren't going to adopt new technology, but they were gold. They were worth their weight in gold. Regardless of what application they used, they were phenomenal people. Like, if you only ever used Carlson software, I mean, I'd hate you for life. But if you only ever used Carlson software, and I was pro Civil 3D, and you just like you were like a million clicks per minute inside of Carlson, I was a million clicks per minute in Civil 3D. You would never ask me to go to Carlson, and I would never ask you to go to Civil 3D. It wouldn't be beneficial.
Doesn't make sense.
So,
yeah.
So we've got to keep our gaps, but at the end of the day, how do we work together? How do we feed this data in the same thing? Dynamo is a great freaking way to get there. And I know we're talking about standards and we want to send those on one application, blah, blah, blah. But come on, man. At the end of the day, if we're just aggregating data and aggregating, taking it to Navisworks, taking it to Dynamo, I don't really care.
Yeah. Just at the end of the day, though, that's it. It doesn't matter. So, you know, yes, I like to say let's stick to one software, but you're completely right. Like there are things that other softwares do better than others, right? Completely. I mean, that's just hand down. That is the way it is. And the thing I like to think about at that end is not just what you're doing in that sense, but the deliverable, right? That's where it needs to be standardized in a sense of,
oh yeah,
your file can be interpreted here, here, and here like this. Okay. And that's where we really need to get, because you know, and I know Autodesk is doing a lot to interpret that data.
That's a project standard. That's definitely I think a project standard sets the precedent and the tone more than our company standard. Our company standard should be fluid.
Yes.
Yes, we should train Josh, Steve, and Ryan to do things our way. But at the end of the day, look, Mr. Subcontractor, XYZ owner, whoever wants to see this, we have to adapt. It's all about fluidity. It's agility is the better word, right? We want to be agile.
Yep.
We want to be as agile as possibly can, while not sacrificing time. Look, here's a prime example. How much faster are you in Revit than you are in AutoCAD?
Oh, a lot.
A lot faster? Dude, I can I could model my house in 45 minutes, maybe. I don't know, I'm bullshitting. But if I was to draw it in AutoCAD, it'd probably take me 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I suck that bad at AutoCAD. But anyways, just for examples here. But my deliverable is a DWG. Shit, I'm gonna draw in AutoCAD and Revit and
Revit and
put out a damn
export that shit.
DWG.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Export that shit. Yeah.
So going back to your point, it is all about the project deliverable. Our internal deliverables might still mandate Revit. And again, going back to the conversation I had earlier with this gentleman who's founded his consulting BIM company. He still works for another company that performs in Revit all the time. That said, most, like 90% of the people they work with are still in AutoCAD.
Yeah.
The reason why he does Revit, though, is they are so much faster in Revit for their segment. Exporting those DWGs is like nothing. Like they can just kick them out, no problem. So their standards aren't dictated by the project standards, but their project standards do dictate the way in which they work to an extent. So you kind of gotta start with the endpoint, reverse engineer.
Yes, and I think that's where you also need to analyze your strengths and weaknesses, right? And tying back to communication in this sense, like, hey, my team is ready to do this. They are, we can kick you out of file format in this sense, and we're ready to go to this LOD. Great. Once you communicate that to the throughout the process to everyone involved in that project, right? At that point, everyone knows this is what we're getting. This is where we're going to start. This is where we need to finish, right? And I think everybody needs to get in that mindset. Like I often kind of go back to my Army mentality. This is my mission, right? This is what I need to do.
This is my rifle. This is my gun.
Yeah, this is my gun. There's that many like it, but this one is mine. But
shit. Sorry,
in that
man.
sense, like, no, you're right. It's this project, man, and knowing, okay, this is what the expectations are. This is what the end deliverable needs to be. How far in this process can we go? Right. And knowing that, accepting that, like right now, we can take you this far. We can give it up to this. Great. Because that's not wasting anybody's time downstream and not having anybody come back and do rework because turns out you didn't give them what they need. Right. And having that communication throughout the entire construction life cycle, design, construction, handover, what have you, that's going to benefit everyone involved.
Well, if it's an LOD 300 or higher, I damn near recommend almost always get a damn laser scan at every stage you can, because
dude.
Otherwise you're gonna be fighting it. Just do it.
Yeah. I mean,
Dave and I will come out and film it. We want to have fun with the laser scan.
Oh yeah, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, please. Yes, but
I need to go pick one from my office here and play around with my property, man.
Yeah, dude. I got to scan my house a little while ago. I made a nice little model of it. I've been playing around with it in Revit here and there. Like, what do I want to do? Like, do we want to move this wall? Maybe. Yeah. Let's figure it out. Is this going to turn, in a return of investment?
It'd be nice if you could, somehow label it as structural. I mean, you can inside of Revit, obviously, but like just slap a big S on it, like $signs. Like, well, maybe we don't move that wall, but maybe we move this wall.
Yeah, dude. Yes. And but what's funny, tying back to our previous kind of statement there with Dynamo is not program specific.
It's not.
It's not. So that's the beautiful thing about Dynamo. If I start in something like Format, right? Okay, Autodesk's version of SketchUp. I'm conceptual design. Can I take a damn script from Format into Revit? Yes, you can. Dude. Yes, you can. It doesn't matter. I can take this damn script into Civil 3D. Now, okay, going from Revit or Format into Civil 3D, probably not the same information, probably not the same shit you're looking for, but you can, you can do stuff. It's still going to interpret it. Yeah. Now, in that sense, though, developing these scripts, adopting something like Dynamo can help you, again, as you're moving forward throughout the process, because guess what? Not everybody needs to know how to freaking code to use it. If I have the Dynamo player and like a conversation I had today, they actually, the architecture firm that I spoke to, received scripts from the structural design firm because it made it easier for them to update links and update their model, like to know everything that was going on within the project as it was. It was easier for the structural firm to share a Dynamo script and they could go play on their Dynamo player than it would be for them to try and have them do everything else and for that team to learn it.
I would love to chat with you offline about who that structural team was. That's awesome, man.
It is awesome. It is. But I mean, that's also another thing that, I'm looking forward to in our industry. If we can start, you and I like to share. You and I like to share.
We're givers, man. What can I say?
Givers.
I will literally give you the shirt off my back. You might not want to see the site, but I will give you the shirt off my back.
Might not look at the armpits of it, but you know what? It'll keep you somewhat warm.
We're all just hairy monkeys, damn it.
All just hairy monkeys, that's it. But sharing that information, knowing that, okay, it might make things a little bit easier for them is great, but knowing that when they push play and it gives your team a deliverable that saves your team time, great, right? I mean, honestly, why wouldn't you do that? Oh, we don't want to share this Dynamo script. Why? You're going to let
proprietary. Shut up.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. I know you guys spend time on this stuff. I know, you make ends meet and you're like, this is fantastic. If you can share that with someone that's involved in your project, because let's not even say it makes it easier for them. I mean, obviously it might make something easier for them, but if it benefits your team because of that, dude, it makes sense.
People want to work with you more, like seek you out more because of that one script.
Yes.
Yeah, you came in, $3,000 more than the last, Joe, but you know what? That script, man, I remember that script. It was worth it.
Yep. And you know what? We saved money in change orders, or we saved money here. We saved money there. But cool. You guys were a little bit expensive, but cool.
I am always amazed at what people are doing with Dynamo scripts. I remember still talking to a friend of ours. It's a piping company. And how they were using Dynamo to push. They used Dynamo in the most
for trenching.
Yeah, in the most absurd way.
Dude.
They were placing a boundary, a buffer, essentially over the pipes, and then the pipes would Sorry, my hands are dirty.
They'd give it an offset.
Yeah, it would give them an offset essentially. It was a buffer, this is an offset, whatever. But it would let them know where to trench with, so they could feed it to their machine control, their excavation. Could come in and dig that shit up and know exactly where it is. And for those of you guys that don't know anything about automation and machine control, it is awesome.
Yep.
I can feed if I have a design file, I can feed that to my machine control. And let's explain, like preach to dumb people, right? We talk to a lot of people that are in industry and we use all these acronyms and terms, but people are like, what the fuck are you talking about, guys? So machine control is a term that applies to
horizontal construction.
Horizontal construction. Yeah, exactly. We'll say negative vertical construction. More often.
It's below the ground.
It's below the ground, guys. But primarily it's about digging up dirt and moving dirt and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. To get to a certain grade. And, again, for grade, for you guys who don't know, that's the level that you're supposed to be at. Whether you are at or you're supposed to be at. So there's existing and finished. And the way it works is essentially, say I have this giant excavator, this giant piece of equipment. What it has is a
couple antennas.
Yeah, antennas, GPS units on the side. Sorry for my pits, guys. I don't know what the hell's going on. Just kidding.
Everybody's going to notice.
Had to call it out, damn it. No. So I've got GPS. This way, guys. No, I've got GPS units on the side, and they're controlling the blade, the tilt of the blade too. So I've got this blade underneath my machine, right? So if this GPS units says this side has to be higher than this side, it knows the difference based off the drawing. So when I get over a certain point, it's like, oh, Steve's drawing says it has to be this high. Layer, level, and it's going to push the dirt across that part, for us part. And as I get to the next part, it's like, oh, actually right here it needs to be lower, and it's going to cut down and go across, and all that sort of stuff. It does all that based off the drawing. It's controlling the blade based off of the driver's movements.
Yep.
So in the drawing, right? So the drawing says we need to be here, at this finished grade all the way across. but my dirt looks like this, it's gonna, the blade's gonna say, well, we need to do this to, counteract all that and push
Takes
the
the
dirt all
human
across.
error out
Yeah,
of it. It really
takes all
does.
the guesswork out of it. Damn it.
Yeah, it does, dude. I when I was in Afghanistan, I operated a lot of machinery my first deployment. So I operated graders, scrapers, loaders, dozers, rollers, you name it. I was in it, right? And for me, especially operating like a grader, I'm looking at these stakes and I'm like, okay, cool. This is where I need to drop my blade. This is how I need to do it. I'm going to drop it down a little bit on this side. Oh crap. I'm going to try to cut for a curb, or I'm going to try to cut for a building here. And you have 8 different freaking levers inside of a grader. Like each one, let's say this one drops the blade. This one drops the right side. This one drops the left side. This one actually moves it over. This one moves it back. It tilts it forward, pulls it back. There's so many different things that need to happen with this equipment. And that piece of equipment, holy shit, you just completely disappeared. Now you're there.
Harry Potter Clark, man.
This piece of equipment, like to know where it needs to cut based off of the design file itself, takes that
Crazy.
level of human error out, right? But let's think about this realistically. If that person in that piece of equipment messes up the grade, right? Even for us, let's say for your piping, and the slope is off, is that going to throw off what you do? If you're laying pipe, if you're designing this pipe, yes, it is.
Damn straight it is.
It is, dude. The funny thing is, being in vertical construction, we often think about like this being a disconnected process. I'm thinking about what I do in my workflow, but as an overall project, all of this shit is connected. Machine control vertical construction is connected to horizontal construction. The ground needs to be right before I can build my building.
So here's the idea: we're all in this, these segments, but at the end of the day, we're still just one project. So how does this project come together? You kind of hit the nail on the head there about the. You always hit the nail on the head, David. Sorry, I'm not giving you the credit you deserve. No,
I'm not the hero you want. I'm the hero you deserve.
Legos?
That's not Batman.
Lego Batman?
Was that? I think it was Batman. Lego Batman. Yeah.
Lego Batman. Yeah.
Lego Batman. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Damn it. Will Arnett, I think.
I think yes, it was Will Arnett.
I can't stand him as an actor, but I love him as a voice actor, man. Damn it. He always plays the most annoying character.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, what was that one with Will Ferrell? Blades of Glory.
Blades of Glory, damn it!
Blades of Glory.
I was thinking of that, and I was thining of Modern Family, and I'm like, both of them. I was like, oh, he makes me cringe. Anyways, so we were talking about disconnected workflows and your job and all that sort of stuff. But as we were talking, machine control guy comes out, does his thing, grades it, all that sort of stuff. It's not machine control. It's not automated. So he's just, doing this little bit of guesswork in there. Yeah, he's taking, his cuts from the design drawing. He thinks he's at the right elevation. He comes out. Yep. Here's the deal. You've got a gravity system that needs a certain slope in order for literally shit to roll downhill. How does that work if you're off?
It don't.
Shit don't roll downhill, damn it.
Roll downhill. Yeah, dude. You're right, man. It's all connected. It really is.
So we started this podcast talking about, talking about tangents, but we got into standards. Standards is where we wanted to be. And ideally, as we were talking about standards and all these things, I guess the standard that we should be talking about is project standards. And the number one project standard is communication. Because if I'm not communicating to, Joe so if I'm the guy out in the field, right, and I'm owning up to the way that I did this, right? Hey, Mr. Steve on the, mechanical contractor or piping contractor side, the way that I got my cut fill and all that stuff is based off of this. Well, shit, I know that. Well, crap, that's not right. Either you need to go back out there and redig this, or I need to come back and recalculate my mouth to figure this out. You all right, man?
I just dropped my damn glass. Yeah, I'm good.
Did it break? Good? Catch it?
Good. No, I didn't catch it, but we're all right.
I'm out, man. I'm out. Yeah, time to go to the liquor store. Now that they're open, yeah. I don't know how you guys are doing over there with COVID, bud, but they've lifted a lot of our restrictions. So, because we've like had next to no cases. So,
Oh, nice, dude. Hell
yeah,
yeah.
jumping
No,
along, man.
we have
Jumping
not
along. I
had
love it.
any of that actually. Shit's been getting worse. They're like, oh, you know, riots in Portland and
Oh, dude, the riots are freaking asinine, dude. I can't believe it. Like, you get, 1% of people destroying it for everybody else, and then, they give that whole group a bad name, which,
yep, yep. Dude, I need to
sucks.
grab a towel real quick. I will
You're
be
good,
right
man.
back. I'm gonna grab a
You're
towel.
good. You're good. I'll chat about the riots in Portland that I know nothing about because I no longer live there, guys. I live in Pittsburgh. Um, That said, we do follow a lot of the riots that are going on and all the stuff. My wife's family's in Rochester. There's a lot of stuff going on in Rochester right now. Um, we stay far away from that stuff. We live in a more rural area. That said, hearts go out to the families, friends involved, all that fun stuff. But for those that are rioting that do encounter this stuff, I don't know, man. It's kind of scary seeing the the violent, aggressive parts of it, kind of dominate that, and then dominate the news in turn and all that stuff. It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate thing.
Yeah, it is what it is.
That said, man, there was something I wanted to get with all this COVID stuff. Dude, did you see the news today? 250,000 suspected cases of COVID because of Sturgis.
Sturgis, yeah.
And I only wanted to get to this because I wanted to brag about my motorcycle work that I'm doing. Damn it. But Sturgis, man, that's great. 250,000 is a big damn number, especially for the Dakotas.
That's a big damn number, yeah.
Yeah. I think, what is that? The population of South Dakota as a whole is 250,000?
Probably, dude. Probably. Oh man. That's
You all right, dude? You all right?
I'm good.
You're
I'm
wiping
a little
frivolously.
upset. Like I just dropped my damn old fashioned. That's what I'm a little upset about. I'm more upset about that than the fact that I had to clean up a mess. Like, well.
There goes my alcohol.
Damn it! I wasted a.
Oh man. Yeah. That said, let me segue into my tangent about motorcycles.
That's good.
So,
good.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure we brought this up on previous episodes because I like to brag about the work I'm doing. I've got a motorcycle I'm repairing. First of all, my kitchen that I just nearly finished, is like HGTV worthy. It's phenomenal, man. It's so beautiful. Got subway tile. I gotta hang some floating shelves and do some touch-up paint, but I'm good. Subway tile, ceiling height cabinets, beautiful floor, two-tone cabinets, stainless steel appliances. COVID has been good for Home Depot pricing, just want to say. Except for wood right now is like 3 times as much as it was pre-COVID. But that said, like tile has never been cheaper. Appliances have never been cheaper. It's been phenomenal. But that said, I bought this motorcycle because my wife finally, after like 10 years, said I could have one. 7 years said I could finally have one. I used to ride motorcycles nonstop in Texas. I had a street bike. It was a YZF 600R. Loved it. It was so fun to ride. I rode it everywhere. My wife wanted to go to the movies. She'd hop on the back. We'd go to the movies. As soon as we had our daughter, and that said, I was, to her credit, I was not the best motorcycle rider. I had, full disclosure here, I had ridden under the influence several times. I had lost 3 friends in motorcycle accidents, all under the influence. 2 actually hit each other and perished, and this is in good old Denton, Texas.
Yep.
So that said, my wife was like, we're selling our motorcycle. I was selling all my stuff. I was moving to Oregon, sold my motorcycle. She's like, you're not ready on a motorcycle. You're not going to have one. It's done. I agree. Was not right in the right mental state, doing 120, 130 miles an hour down the road.
Yeah,
Inebriated, not fun. for your wife who's at home,
Yeah.
hoping you make it
Oh
home
yeah.
safe.
Yep. Yep.
That
That
said,
too.
that shit's behind me, guys. I own up to my past. I'm at home all the time,
Hey,
so
bro, we
my
do
wife
dumb
is.
shit. It is what it is. That's part of life, right? You live and you learn.
I was young, man. Anyways, I drink. I only drink at home. I don't drink out at restaurants. I don't drink anywhere. If I drink at home, I stay home. That's
Yep.
my rule. That said, anyways,
I drink everywhere.
I,
Now
I,
I will not get too drunk to drive. That's my thing. Like
yeah,
I don't know. I've always been I did it one time where I got a little too drunk and I was like, well, maybe I can still drive. And I shit you not, I got about not even 5 minutes down the road and I was like, this is not what I want to do today.
yeah.
So I turned my ass right around.
Uh,
That shit just scares me, you know? Once you reach that certain level, you know you shouldn't drive. Don't do that shit.
I've got a one and done policy. So
Hmm.
after one beer, I have to wait at least 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Um,
That's a good one.
it's a long damn time, but you know
It
what? The
is.
place
No,
damn corner,
that's
I
good.
figured it out.
Yep.
Otherwise, my wife will drive or I'll take an Uber home. And the
Yep.
reason is, uh, before I lost any of my friends' motorcycle accidents, I know we're taking a dark turn here,
Yeah.
guys. But this is real life, guys, right? This is real life. This is what you guys, click to see. Two of my friends, one who I'll actually be naming my next kid after, perished in a automobile accident driving drunk. They were
Mm.
like 17 years old, still in high school, drinking and driving. Um, we were all partying, and then next day I find out that they were involved in a car accident
Hmm.
where they actually killed the driver. They hit head on and
Oh
killed the
wow.
next driver. So all three of them died. That other person, if I remember correctly, had a new kid on the way. So it was like kid
Ah.
drives, kid arrives, parentless, two young kids die. It sucks. It's just a
Yep.
hard thing. So the passenger in that vehicle, his name is Riley. We are planning on naming our daughter Riley. Um,
That's
Love the
awesome.
guy. He was such a sweet kid. I know he would have never driven drunk, but he was a
Yep.
passenger at least, and he allowed himself to be a passenger, and that's the way it works.
Yep.
Lost his life at 17. Anyways, all these friends that perished because of alcohol and motorcycles. And my wife was like, look, you're not getting another motorcycle. And I was like, look, wait, check this out. I want to make this really cool motorcycle. And it's a project. It's not a motorcycle. Think of it that way. It's a project, not a motorcycle.
Yep.
It's going to take me a year to finish before I actually get to do any cool stuff with it. It's not a sport bike. I'm not doing 130. It's a chopper. It's a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I've got another one on the way right now. And my wife's like, I don't know. But finally, she came around to the idea because her little brother just bought an old BMW motorcycle, and now here we are. I actually bought a motorcycle, cost me like $500, and I am cutting the shit out of it and chopping the heck out of it, and it's going to be a dang old cool, bobber when I'm done with it. But
Hell yeah.
it's a 1985 Honda Magna VF700, and the
Yep.
reason why I bring it up, my hands are disgusting right now because I've been playing with.
Those Honda Magnas are awesome. I
Dude,
had a 70, what is a 79 CB Honda CB 650.
those
And
CDs are
yeah,
freaking gold, man. Yeah, those are gold,
yep,
man.
yep.
There's these few years that Honda really excelled at motorcycle making. It's like 83 to 87.
Hmm.
Uh, Harley
Those were the
Davidson,
fun years, bro. I mean, you look at the Yamaha VMAX back then, you look at the
dude.
Yamaha 700, 750s.
So
Dude, those were some mean bikes. That was back in
uh,
the day, like when it was they were pushing power through these
the,
bikes to make them
the,
faster.
and there's a reason between it. So they were high compression motorcycles during that particular span. Reagan had implemented this whole notion of America first, and they had laid in taxes on the foreigner bikes, the Japanese, the
Hmm.
Chinese bikes, motorcycles at that time. And what that did is that forced them to be more competitive. So if you were
Yep.
over 700 cc's, you had to pay a tax. So Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, all these companies, produced motorcycles that were like 698 cc's, all that sort of stuff, labeled them as a 700. So the motorcycle I have is a VF 700C, and the importance of that motorcycle is it is iconically the motorcycle that Harley Davidson built. Harley Davidson forced in work with the U.S. government, got these tariffs placed on these foreign manufacturers, rightfully so, right? Pro America, we want to build here, we want to build first,
America.
that sort of stuff. But what it forced was creativity, ingenuity, and it forced these
competition, bro.
Yeah,
Yes.
fucking competition, man.
I love it.
Force these foreign companies to be creative and competitive with their motorcycles. So they created high compression engines to compete with the 750s, with the 900s, all that sort of stuff, motorcycles, but while falling under the tariff threshold. And they produce some of the most reliable motors ever built. So I have a 1985 VF700C, and it is arguably the best motor Honda ever built.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I agree, dude. You know what's funny though is I've seen an uptick recently of scanning, right? Of adoption of scanning, not just in construction, not just in architecture or vertical construction in general, but in also scanning hot rods. So my passion is hot rods. Like I love hot rods. I really want a 69. Well, I of course would love a 68, 69 Mustang Fastback, like a Shelby GT 500 or GT 350. Probably not going to happen, but I'd love to have one of those.
Oh, dude, I love an Eleanor, man. Give me one of those.
Eleanor is oh my gosh. Yeah.
Fast and Furious is great.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie. It's great.
It is
but
great.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Gone in 60 Seconds was my shit.
With Eleanor and the Colt, Painted on My Heart.
Yep.
Like that whole song in the background. Like that is my movie, man. That is the movie that made what's his name? Damn it! No, the little brother that plays Kip Raines.
Oh, Kip Raines. Oh,
he starts with a G. Giovanni Ribisi.
Yep.
That's what cemented it for me. Like that dude is going to be phenomenal actor. And everything I've seen him in since has been great. Nick Cage is kind of taking the
he's taking a downhill dive after Ghost Rider.
Giovanni Ribisi's been on the upward trend. Like all the movies and stuff he's been in. I love that movie. I love that movie. That is my ultimate favorite car movie. Is that movie right there?
Yep. But it's been crazy to see some of these collectors and stuff. They're using scanning to document the cars and their existing conditions and knowing how they need to repair them. Even bikes, dude. Yeah. They'll scan a bike. I mean, they scan motors to know exactly what the conditions are in this motor and how to approach this build. Dude, it's awesome. I love the variety of it.
I thought about actually using. So I have this Mozio, handheld phone tripod thing that follows me around. I thought about using that to convert still images into meshes. Mesh of whatever I'm doing. That way, when it comes time to put it back together, I can reverse engineer it.
Yeah, dude, there you go. I know where that bolt goes. Dude, that's one of my problems. Like, I'll get done with a build. I'll get done with putting a new turbo in or something like that. And then I'll look back and be like, where's this bolt go?
Is this
extra one, right?
You got 3 extra holes, but only 1 bolt. How does this go? Yeah. I don't know, man. But we got to wrap this up, bud. This has been fun. We've been talking about scanning. We've been talking about standards. We've kind of just been BSing about BIM, catching up. I promise you guys it will not be this long to the next one. We have Eric DeLeon from CAD Manager Confessions coming on. This will be a great episode. Again, David, thank you as always for
thank you for talking
being the rock on this freaking Brewing with BIM, man.
Hell yeah, dude. I love
I feel like, a little Bette Midler should be playing Wind Beneath My Wings. Like
ridiculous.
It's this empty bottle of scotch talking, guys. I promise you 100%.
Dude, I finished off this bottle of I mean, honestly, I dumped a old fashioned on my table. So that's one less that I'm dealing with, but
5/6 of the bottle. All right,
No,
cool.
I just want to say thank you to you, of course, for having these conversations, but also for everyone that's listening. Thank you to our listeners, man. You guys keep us going. You guys are the reason why we do this. We've been able to get some feedback recently, which is fantastic, and
Well, we
recognizing
didn't
cities
know
doing a
that we
really
weren't
good
getting
piece.
feedback is the biggest thing is because we had changed email addresses. But
Yeah.
anyways, it's all fixed.
Yep.
Send us some
We're
contact
going
information
now.
on the form. We'll reach out to you. We'll get this thing going. I've had Baker dozens of dozens of people reach out to us on LinkedIn, say how much they love this. Our podcast is growing phenomenally. I love it. Let's keep the momentum, but let's keep it relevant to you guys. Let us know what you want to hear.
Yep.
We'll keep the conversation going.
What is it? David at brewingwithbim.com and
Joe at brewingwithbim.com. We got our own email addresses.
got our own email addresses. We're like doing this shit now.
We're
We're
big time.
hashtag official.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, and I look forward to the next one.
All right.